Following the cultural commission meeting for February 12, 2024 to order at 5:30. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Damiano?
Yes, present.
Commissioner Frazier?
Present.
Commissioner Rudnicki? Chair Hernandez?
Here.
Co-chair Guillet?
Here.
Commissioner Tozer? Commissioner Henberg?
You have a quorum, so we can move along. So the next thing we need to do is to approve the agenda. And can I get a movement for approving the agenda as is or any additions?
I move to approve the agenda as is. Second.
So moved. We are approving the agenda. And now for the approval of minutes, I move that we approve the minutes unless anyone has additions or subtractions. Second. So moved. We will go ahead and, or. I gotta take a vote. Don't do it. Vote to approve the minutes for today. Unanimous. Next up is public comment. I do not see anyone here for public comment.
Oh, we have staff announcements. We added that to the agenda.
Okay. I didn't see those. It
Um,
got changed between us when I wrote this up. So let's go ahead and do the staff announcements.
so we added this, to the agenda with your, hopefully consent, because we didn't have a place on the agenda for Rita and I to offer any things that were going on in the city or were staff, suggestions, announcements, or work product that we could get back to the cultural commission. So we realized the planning commission does that, and at council, we do a city administrator report, but we didn't have anything like similar for this meeting, so we added that. We actually do have something to bring to to the cultural commission tonight, which is an opportunity.
Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
I have to share it out to the Zoom world. A minute. Not right. Apologies. Well. Right, this thing does not want to drive over.
They're in the council packet, so if
They are in the council packet, or the commission packet.
commission packet, yeah. So if we could bring them up on the main screen, I don't know if we can. We'll here need to see the owl really. So I'll just describe what it is. So we have an opportunity, so the comprehensive plan is underway at the city. So our planning department does the comprehensive plan update. It's an update that happens every 10 years. And it has a bunch of different elements. So it has like a transportation element, the housing action plan, that talks about affordable housing in the city, parks, trails, open space, economic development. Our current comp plan does not have an arts and culture element to it. However, there's room on the survey that's going out this week. So I don't know if any of you received the Park Trails Open Space survey that was sent to the community. So part of the comp plan is to survey the community on a variety of different issues. And so the Housing Action Plan had a survey to the community, the Park Trails Open Space has a survey to the community, and then the rest of the elements are kind of all folded into the comprehensive plan. And that has a survey that's going out in the next week or so. They had room on this survey to do 3 arts and culture questions. And so what we did was we drafted 3 based on what some other communities in their comprehensive planning process have asked for potential inclusion in this comp plan survey. Unfortunately, we have a really quick turnaround because we have to have an answer on whether or not you're okay with these questions in the next 24 to 48 hours. Because the consultant is working with our planning department on a pretty tight timeline to send out this survey. It's a pretty good opportunity. We had talked about whether or not we should survey the community as you all were thinking about how to put together your biennial work plan, because getting community feedback is an essential element of the work plan. And this would get you started on that. The questions, I think the comprehensive plan survey will probably be out. It's mailed to the community. It'll probably be out for about a month, but there'll also be an opportunity to do it online. And this will be one of like 40 questions on a variety of other topics. But it would be a useful and free way for you all to get some of the feedback you need from the community in anticipation of building your biennial art plan. So the question we have for you all is, do you want to do this, take the opportunity to include arts and culture questions? And then second, do you have any feedback on the questions that we can get back to our planning department? It doesn't have to be these questions, but we wanted to offer you some options so that you weren't starting from scratch.
Are these, do they always like one response from these, or is it as many as apply?
I think it was 3.
So I didn't bring with me, it's a paper form, and so you can select multiples. Online, I believe the Parks Trails Open Space was formatted to also select multiples when it went online. The way the comp plan consultants have worked is they've done a survey with its own kind of statistical relevancy analysis on, you know, we got plus or minus some statistical mean. And then the online survey is done a little bit differently with its own analytics. But I seem to recall that the Park Trails Open Space one was also a multiple option selection. And we could ask that it be programmed that way, but the first one will go out on paper and people can participate on paper.
Sounds good.
So the question before us is, are we okay with these 3 questions and the multiple choices, essentially?
Yes.
I'm all for it. What about you all? Discussion.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I like questions, and I'm going over the answers.
I have actually pulled it up on my end here. I'm looking at it. I'm fine with all this. I think we're pretty good with the questions. I think we should go.
It's really complete. Are there anything that looks like it's the same thing? No, I mean, like a thing.
Yeah, I tried that. So some of them that have, so some comprehensive plans in other communities that have a full arts and culture element had, you know, much broader survey. We have the opportunity for 3. So I picked the ones that I thought would get as much information data as you could glean to be able to put into your art plan. So these were the ones I thought that kind of quickly could get as much information as you might need to do that work.
You know, if we get enough respondents that say, gee, can we build a large pyramid mound in the city?
Well, yeah, but the question that isn't being asked is, if you wanted these things, could it be permitted? And that would be a different question, but yeah, gee. So This was an example that Rita found actually in a different city's questionnaire, and I thought, earthworks.
It's like an sandblast.
Yeah, and then I went back and looked at it, and it's actually in our public art policy as one of the mediums that we would, so it's actually under 1.2 public art projects types. We actually included earthworks, environmental installation, and environmental art. So we had already anticipated it, so I thought we should probably include it, but yeah, it is like sandblast.
Yeah, for this, motion to accept as is. Second, vote. All vote in favor, say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, I will let our planning director know. Thank you.
They look okay, Wendy?
Yeah, it's for the name.
Some of the things are pretty,
Didn't ask for the name.
not very clear.
It's unanimous.
But
But you're still-
Oh, do I? Any nays? No,
Yeah.
motion passes.
No, like it's- Sorry, we're still getting used to
Yeah,
that.
we took the lessons last Saturday. Oh,
And I'm repeating them, so I remember that.
Yeah. All right, no problem. Let me go ahead and move on to our next business. Which would be the flight project. Actually, there's one more thing I need to do. Are there any more staff announcements? Sorry.
No, you did approval of minutes and next is public comment, but we have no.
No, no. I did want to make one quick note. I would like to move to have Commissioner Heinberg's absence last week excused and Commissioner Tozer's and Rudnicki's absence. Well, I don't know about Commissioner Rudnicki. Do we know? Did you call us, let us know?
I wasn't here.
Hmm?
I wasn't here.
Right, that's what we're saying.
Excuse.
Excuse, yeah. No, you were, the absence from last, the absence from last week, excused, and Commissioner Tozer's absence for this week excused. Can I get
Second.
all in favor to excuse those absences, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against, say nay. Okey doke, we got it. I should probably choose something more professional than what we do.
It worked for me.
Yeah,
But I'm
I like it.
home, so it's. I think there's a little charm to the.
Yeah.
It's small towns in.
Okay, so new business for today. We have the plank project. I've got here a marker for location for installations. Have we all thought about how we want to do or where we want them? We do have also the call for artists. The call for artists specifically says that the planks will be installed on Main Street. I know we were talking about kind of scattering them around the city as well.
Oh, that's the older.
The older ones. That was actually my question was, is that for the older ones
Yeah,
specifically?
that's what the other ones.
For the older ones. Have you all had a chance to look at the call for artists? Song? If not, we can run, pop it up and just run through it real quick.
That would be.
Civically involved when you have a second job already.
Mhm. Okay.
It's nice.
It's okay for all muted. Well, one of us is, but we're all muted. So, I did just take a quick look at this, when we got the packet. And, basically, it's a quick rundown. It looks like it's from an older version, but it actually talks about like what we can do with these planks, what we're gonna plan to do with these planks. I'm really interested in segment B, which has the explanation of the carvings. And that, we're kind of pushing indigenous stories above everything else, which I'm really a big fan of, obviously. But also not removing the history part of the city. As well, we have the budget. The eligibility was something that we had all talked about as well, which is letter D. And letter D has us basically saying that we would prefer artists from Snoqualmie Valley and indigenous tribes that were related, so we got that as well. We have a general, like, what our public art Duvall is going to be, and a project timeline, which is pretty open-ended. We're looking at the September, December at the end of the year to finally get the artwork back, as well as pop it in whenever. At the very bottom, we have G and H, which are the selection criteria. This one's pretty, looks like it's going to be pretty open-ended. We do have a rubric at the very bottom to determine who we should choose. So we've also got segment H, which has all the questions that are all the qualifications we need to look at for applying or for choosing our artists. And finally, 5 examples of past artwork. We have just tell us what you've done before, so that we have something to go on with what they're going to make.
Do we know internally who's gonna be reviewing all these applications? That'll be the whole.
I believe it's going to be the whole commission. Commission
And staff.
and staff. Commission staff will work on it. And then finally, at the very bottom, we have the exhibit A, which is that rubric. I do not do good at math. I especially do not do good at math with letters. So I didn't look too hard at this one. But I do like the fact that we have something to follow through on to actually choose not only an artist, but an artist who will finish the job and do it well.
Mhm. Is this close to what was used last time?
It's slightly different. This is a little more robust than the prior call for artists. We expanded it a little bit at the top. The prior call for artists was very specific about receiving art that told the story of the river only. So in terms of just what we asked for, it's a little more broad. And then we also broadened up the artists that were eligible, because last time it was only artists from the Snoqualmie Valley, which was somewhat limiting. But this is a little more robust in terms of how you're gonna score, a little more directive too, but also is, I think, transparent to the artists. So the artists know when they're delivering their proposals, what they're going to be scored on, which makes it, I think, a little easier for the artists. It's based on a couple examples that we found from other cities that do quite a bit more artwork than we do. So we toned it down a little bit from other cities, but used kind of the formatting of it. We did do some language changes. So one of the examples that we found had like weak, poor, good, very good, excellent. And so we kind of thought that weak and poor wasn't terribly inclusive language. So we modified the language of the rubric from the examples that we found.
On the note, the reference content sheet says pass fail and then gives points.
So there are a couple things up on top that are pass fail, which is like, did you sign it? Let's see, go back up, Rita, if you would. I think I have my glasses with me this time. I frequently come to council without my glasses, which may seem the screen really hard.
And this angle is.
Yeah. There are a couple things that you just have to do. And let's see. Yeah, so, that, you give us your name and address and.
Right.
And I think there was one other pass fail, yeah, references.
Yeah, that one shows pass fail there, but on the sheet, on the rubric,
It shows a number,
it shows
Just points
score
where,
points.
okay,
I think it was just the grading elements inside it were different, so.
oh, okay, yeah, we can clean that up, thank you.
Yeah,
Could you tell me what ND stands for?
Yeah, up, at the top, it's, needs development.
On these.
So after we look at this, is this going directly out to the artist or is it going to city council and then the artist?
This doesn't need to go through city council. So the only thing really here is if you've noticed any corrections or suggested edits you would like to have made, doing that, and then we can fill in once you all are okay with the draft here, we can fill in the timeline. So the timeline kind of begins, it's open-ended right now, largely because we need to get it finalized, and then we work the timeline from there. So it says like March XX, yeah, and then we'll just fill in the timeline once we decide what day we're gonna release it for all the artists. And then our policy requires, can't remember if it's code or policy, requires a certain kind of publication for call for artists. Might be in code, I think it's in code. Hang on 1 second. She used as one in the valley. I believe we have to post it to news. I think we have to post in the Seattle Times at a minimum, that there are other posting requirements for call for artists. So, and we'll handle that part.
So I guess the question is, do we want to go ahead and accept this and just move forward, or do you want to look it over and make changes? And we come back at the next meeting and say, we're discussing. I personally am okay with this, other than the changes that you asked about pass fail.
I think it's good. Nothing to study it, meticulously, but seems fine, right now.
Commissioner, Ivor, any comments?
I'm kind of a product. I mean, I evaluate things.
No problem.
Looks good. I think that.
Yeah, that was good.
You had a question?
Yeah, I wanted to go up and see what our statement is on what we need, contributions, I guess.
So do we have a movement to go ahead and accept this?
I moved to accept this draft proposal, barring the pass-fail statement that needs to be updated.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Second. I vote to accept this with the change for pass fail. All those approving say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. And we're good. So go ahead and accept that.
All right, well, we will get it issued and edited, issued, released, and publicized, hopefully before the next meeting, and then we'll get started on this project. So thank you. We appreciate your attention to it. It's been a project that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, and we're really excited to get it moving and up.
I love the planks that we have. I love them, and seeing new ones would be amazing.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, so this is the project that was funded, and, you know, we'll be able to get started on it, and it does leave a little money in the budget for rehabbing and replacing around the city, the old ones. I did talk to the public works director, so they're gonna need, you know, an additional coat of varnish, so they're in good condition, but if we're going to put them back up and expose them to the elements, they need a little bit of, you know, tender loving care before we put them up. And we don't think it's gonna be significant in terms of cost, but we would like to do a little rehab before we put the old planks back out.
Good.
And we have time to consider where we might do those when you have a full council, where around the city you would like them. One thing I would suggest when you get closer to a list is that we invite Director Lanishevsky back so we can talk about whether Public Works can get to where you want to place them and whether that place is, accessible, all those kinds of good things that our Public Works Department will want to be sure about. In addition, is it a place where we can get to, clean up any vandalism that might occur, all those things that.
I had some discussion on the locations for that, but considering that we don't have a full commission right now, and on top of that, we could, just table it. Think about more locations we can put them, and then I'll come back with mine just next week if we're all okay with that. Okay, so I'll move to go ahead and table this then.
Second.
Second, all those in favor of tabling this, say aye.
I
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
do have a
Oh,
question.
yes.
How many planks are we talking?
The old or the new project is 40. So 10 locations with 4 planks apiece on Main Street here. And then the old planks, we have an additional 40. That we would do 10 art installations throughout the city to put the old planks up. And actually, I come to think about that, we might have lost a few. There might be 2 that were damaged, so it might be 40, it might be 38, not sure. But in total, about 75 to 80 planks throughout the city.
Are the damaged planks from the same set?
I'm not sure, I'll have to ask Director Lanishevsky. When they went back in, did an inventory, we think we have them all, but there are 2 where we're gonna try to rehab them, but there might be, it might end up being a triangle instead of a cube at the left location.
Commissioner Tozer's online now.
Oh, excellent. But I will go ahead and say that, well, we don't need to move to excuse that, because he's here, so we don't.
Do you guys typically move online guest to panelists?
No.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and move on.
Give me just one second.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Tozer.
We're moving him over to the panelist side so he can speak.
Okay.
That takes just a second. There he is.
Aha, I'm here.
Or,
Yes, I was trying to listen for a while. Sorry, we got caught up at a game. My daughter ended up getting injured at a game, so we're a little behind.
don't worry, you hear that.
So
We were just finishing up the plank discussion. I know that the plank discussion seems to be something that's you're very, very interested in. Did you have a chance to go over any of the paperwork for that?
I did. I heard you guys kind of talking, and generally, I don't think I have much of an issue. I guess my only thought is, I believe the budget per plank was it at 4,000 this time around? Did I see that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, and I guess the idea is we're going to put it out and kind of see what sort of response we get and if we need to modify. Again, I think the original call for artists was like 5,000 per plank in 2009. So I'm just worried that we're not going to get the kind of quality we might want, but I understand we're trying to work within the budget and make it all happen. But just curious if that thought process has played out a little bit.
I met with Director Lanishevsky and he thought it was 4,000 last time as well. But if we have some cushion, and so if we need to change that number, we can, and then we would just kind of reframe whether we use any of the remaining funding for the old planks. It would just modify that part of the project if we need to raise the artist fee.
It's 4,000 per plank or per floor?
Per set.
Per set.
And they're.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my main question. Again, I think, all you can do is try and see what kind of response you get. But I know that was one of the concerns that even the last time around when we did it in 2020, that we maybe didn't get the response we were looking for, because our, the fee was a little lower than maybe it deserved. But again, you never know. Might be a new set, new type of people interested.
Yeah, and if we go up to a 5,000 per set, that would be the whole budget. Which, again, the budget is associated with the new planes. If we need to use the whole budget on the new planes, we can. We would just need to rethink how we would use the old planes, because there is going to be a certain amount of cost associated with displaying the old planes, because we need to build the base, and then we need to treat them for reinstallment, so.
Would it be possible to look for local business donors to sponsor them, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, yeah.
Almost for paying artists more, but. But I also understand you have to get things done and use money.
Also, I'm not sure how I feel about a plank that's, beautiful plank and underneath it says sponsored by so-and-so. I don't know if that would be a thing. I would rather just have the artist and stuff like that.
My thought about payment, I'm sorry,
Oh, no, go right ahead. Go ahead. It's okay.
is that the artists that are creating the planks aren't doing it to make an income. They're doing it to, display their art and creativity, I think. So I think 4,000 to 5,000, that's the difference.
Yeah, again, it just my thought. It could be fine. I think it's worth putting out, because again, you might get everything you need back. But that was one of the conversations we had before. Is really the price has gone down since 2009 of what we were compensating these artists, and it's a pretty significant effort to carve those pieces. And yeah, some of them do it for the love, but this is their career for a lot of the folks who we've seen in the past. So anyway, my 2 cents. I don't mean to beat it up. Sorry. And apologies for any bad audio here in the car.
Oh, so you're fine. We hear you perfect.
The thing I would add to that is if we do move up to 5,000, we can always include displaying the old ones in our next year's plan. And then we get budget for it.
Anything further?
I like that.
Yeah. And another possible idea, sorry, and I hope you guys don't mind. It's hard for me to see hands and stuff. The other planks, the older planks, potentially that could be an Eagle Scout project. If the city, we used to work with Eagle Scouts a lot, and we might be able to find an Eagle Scout that could rehab those, or maybe make them into the cubes that we were talking about, perhaps. Even. So there's some really good scouting troops that would love a project like that.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea.
Richie.
Well, I mean, certainly the 4,000 is not, I mean, that was the point of bringing this to you all. So, I mean, one of the things you could decide tonight is to raise it to 5,000 and use the entire budget for the new planes. That's from the city's perspective, that's a choice that we are happily with the commission.
Can we table that until next?
Do we have documentation one way or the other of what we paid last time?
Mr. Tozer and Director Lanishevsky's memories are different on this.
It might be best that we table that to get the documentation to determine it.
It was also over 20 years ago.
Yeah,
So
that's true. It gets fuzzy after about
I
5.
mean, was it 2020 or 2009? I've heard both.
Oh, 2020, sorry, I somehow read it as 2000, no, it wasn't 20. My bad.
The first set was 2000, and the call for artists was 2008, and we received them in 2009. The second call was 2020.
So should we go ahead and table this for the next meeting just to get documentation, just so we have it on paper, what?
And I'm truly happy with it. I just think it's great.
Motion to table the discussion for the next meeting then.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Motion carries. We'll go ahead and table that for the next meeting. Right, the next item of business, the Pride Ribbon Project. Do we have the call for artists, that we can pull up real quick?
I don't know about
Or not the
real
call
quick,
for artists, the,
but
the project template, sorry.
yes. Mhm. 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 This is the part where this right here. Mhm. There it is, yes.
No, that's the point project. So through, two more down. No.
That is-
There you go. There. Can you stop sharing that one? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh, shoot. Oh, geez, there we go, okay. We got it.
Awesome. So has everyone had a chance to go through this, yet? If not, we can go through it real quick here.
So there,
So essentially, we have, just the project recommendation that'll probably go, that definitely should go to city council. Showing the location of where we can put the pride ribbons, which, as we talked about, would likely be the side of the city hall. I'm very happy with that position. I really am. Good location, good visibility, definitely something that people are gonna walk by and see all the time. Go ahead and scroll down a bit. And it has our good reasons for it out there to establish, public dialogue, legacy of arts, the fact that it's the mayor's expression. That said, we have here the project for this recommendation, anticipates receiving community input the following ways. We had some concerns about that at the last meeting, so we are, as part of this, going to have public comment on it at our next cultural commission. And if we approve this draft today, city council will also have, an opportunity for, public comment the week after. So I hope that soothes some troubled brows there. Scroll down a bit to the project scope. This shows, the selected artist will be provided with $1,000 contract, formalize the design of the city, or the design of the project. With materials and supplies, provided by the city at a cost of $2,500. And go ahead and scroll down. We're going to be doing this as a focused invitational, so we are willing to, look at specific artists for this. And on top of that, they'll be required to let us know what exactly they're making, how they're going to make it, all the options there under section B. Scroll down to the budget. This is the general budget and the anticipated timeline for getting this done, hopefully before Pride in June of 2024. Very happy with it. I believe that's the end of the draft on this. I am super happy with this. Do we have any discussion on it?
I have commented, but whoever else wants to go first.
Just saying, looks thorough, looks entirely reasonable in the time frame.
Wondering if there's an example of kind of what they're referring to here with a cluster near the city hall.
Different.
I'm not sure what you mean by cluster, but it's.
Well, I thought you were talking about different projects or different creations from different artists that are like on the wall in the city hall.
We're using specifically donated ribbons from an artist, very specifically,
Okay.
which kind of knocks it down to one piece.
Okay.
So it would be one piece on the side of City Hall. Oh, I'm sorry about that, yeah. The material for the art project, the ribbon has been done.
I've got some photos of the original design, if you'd like to see it later. I talked to the artist a few months ago.
Anyone else? You said, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I like it.
You had comments, Commissioner Gozen?
Yeah, thank you. And sorry, I'm close. I might even make it in person pretty soon. But so a couple things, and yes, thank you for putting together the scope of art, or the scope of artists, the call for artists. I think that's good. Public input, I think it's fantastic. Again, as a commission, we're blazing new territory here, just in general, right? And so one of the original things I want to talk about is this kind of originated from, well, it was donated art, therefore we should put it back up because. And again, my question would be then, that's fine. What other donated art will the city take in and find a place for should somebody choose to donate it? And that's part of the nexus of the question is where do we set boundaries? Where do we draw the lines? What do we define as our priorities? And again, the reason this particular project came is because, well, it was donated art from an artist that the city has, so we should do it. And I'm not sure that that's a great reason to do art. I think it should be to bind community and bring community together, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I want to ask about. Again, this call for artists, this specific topic, fine, that we can talk about that. There's some good, really good bumpers in here and really good opportunities to engage people. But as just how it originated, is that how we're going to continue the next set when an artist donates material and supplies to the city?
There's an extra layer to this as well, is the fact that the artist did donate it to the city, but the mayor has requested this. And then it's up to us to approve what we can do with that. So there is an extra layer there that would act as a definition of like what we can do. So on top of that, at this point, if someone was to donate, and I'm not making this policy or anything, we would just have to do it on the merits of the donation. City administrator.
Okay. So that's perfect. So the city would accept, the city would accept other art donations then is what I'm hearing.
Not necessarily.
As administrator.
Yes. Yes,
So-
I understand. Yeah, go ahead, please.
So I think, we're conflating a couple topics here. So this project and first of all, this is a recommendation that this commission is making to the mayor about the mayor's expression at City Hall. And so it's up to you all to decide whether or not you want to vote to make that recommendation. It is then up to the mayor to bring it to city council for city council to determine if it meets the requirements in the newly adopted public art policy from August of 2023. This is a little different, which is why you would be making a recommendation for them to the mayor outside of your biennial work plan, because you don't have a biennial work plan right now. You're a newly formed commission, and in the meantime, you need to find some methodology for getting recommendations to the mayor. So that's what this is. Different though, beginning this year, you're charged with creating a biennial work plan that is approved by council. And so anything future oriented would have to be in your biennial work plan and approved by council. So this idea that other people might donate something and this commission would be able to decide whether to accept that donated material is somewhat specious, because you would have a biennial art plan that would have already been pre-approved.
Anything further?
I just want to say that I firmly believe that getting this up would be a boon to the, queer community, especially the queer here in our fair city.
All right, then. In that case, if there's no further discussion, I'd like to go ahead and move that we vote to accept this draft proposal. Second. I would like very much for this to be a roll vote, if you wouldn't mind reading.
Sure. I'm not
I'm
sure.
sorry, Director.
Those are still on with us. I think he might have dropped off.
But he was on his way, I think.
So his hand is raised. He's still here.
Did he get disconnected and log back in?
I think.
Oh,
Yes. It'll take just a second for him to cross over to the campus. Commissioner Tozer, can you hear us?
I can, sorry, darn headphones. I'm literally like 2 minutes away and I can walk in the door and talk to you guys, I promise. So I missed the last little bit. I overheard you guys talking a little bit and then I missed the last little thing from administrator.
What I was saying is that the hypothetical of what this commission would do with other donated art following this project is somewhat specious, because you will have, in the next few months, work to adopt a biennial art plan that has to be approved by council according to the policy. So you may, from time to time, have one-offs, but right now you're in an unusual territory because you don't have this art plan that's been developed. So you're going to have to figure out a way outside of the pre-budgeted items that have already been approved by council of moving certain projects along that the mayor has asked for without having this biennial art plan. But I'm not sure that that hypothetical needs a lot of dissection right now, because I don't know between now and September, when you're going to have your biennial art plan, how often this issue would come up.
Gotcha. Understood. So, okay, I'm literally parking. Can I talk to you guys in like 1 minute in person? Is that okay?
oh, like you're outside?
Yeah, I literally am pulling up. Yeah, I'll be right in, I promise.
Okay. Would we like to
Thank
call
you.
this 5 minutes?
Thank you.
Yeah, 5 minute recess is fine. Seconded.
Seconded. So, are we okay with the 5 minute recess? All those say aye. All those against, nay. 5 minute recess, all.
That line will probably be what it says.
It's just too loud.
Very loud. It is loud.
I'm incredibly old school computer, so that's just like Sound Blaster 8-bit from 1992.
Close.
Okay.
All right, so any final discussion?
Yeah, so again, where I was going with that whole thing is just trying to find out how we treat that in totality. So again, this particular project has been handled in a certain way because initially it was brought up because it was donation and we should do it because of that. We will clearly get other donations, especially if that's a known path that you can affect art or do something else. And that's part of the question. It might be that it's a 2 month or 3 month gap. What are you gonna do in that 2 months or 3 months if you perhaps get
As
donated art?
As Administrator Matt said, that's something we can discuss with our biannual project, or our biannual planning. This is outside of that right now, and we can actually make that part of or not part of that later.
Yeah. It's only not part of it because we put it outside. Again, we could choose to do this in the biennial plan and make a bigger, more robust process and do a bigger project potentially. But we're kind of forcing it into this gap, and we're trying to fast track it for a number of reasons. But that's my question is, again, if we have that opportunity for somebody else, would we entertain that same option for a different thing? And that's the question.
The question, yeah, it's out of scope.
Administrator, yeah,
I mean, it would be up to the commission. I mean, I would certainly recommend that you treat any other project in the same manner. If between now and your biennial art plan, you received donated materials. However, the commission isn't deciding whether to do this project. You're
Right.
recommending to the mayor, who will bring it to city council whether this project moves forward. So you would use the same process. The mayor has asked that this commission consider this project and create a project for it. So if tomorrow you had someone who donated materials for an art project, you would use the same process as you're using here. And ultimately, it would go to city council outside of the scope of the biennial art plan, which you don't have.
Yes. Okay. And then and I have my printed stuff in front, but what are we voting on next day? So this is the call for artists and whether or not we accept the call for artists and move it the next step forward.
It's for a project template, we're going to give that to city council. We're going to accept we're going to vote to accept the project template, which will then go to city council for their discussion and acceptance.
I thought we were going to do the public input prior to the next council.
We will do that as part of the template. Once we accept the template specifically says we were doing public input on.
Okay. So it's not even acceptance or not of the project, it's moving it forward under this guideline.
Basically, it's the commission saying, here's what we want.
Yeah, here's how we're gonna look at it. Yeah.
So
Perfect.
it's gonna move down.
Yeah.
And in fact, if there's no more discussion. I'd like to move for a vote that we, on accepting the draft plans.
The project template.
Project, sorry, I keep calling it draft. No, a move to a vote to accept the project template. Second. For this, I would very much like a roll vote.
Commissioner Einberg,
Except,
Commissioner Tozer,
For the project plan, accept.
Commissioner DA,
Accept.
Chair Hernandez,
Accept.
Commissioner Rudnicki, Commissioner Frazier,
Except.
Commissioner Damiana. Damiana, except, thank you.
I believe that's everyone.
Yeah.
Unanimous acceptance. Well, almost unanimous acceptance. We're still missing two people, but we've got acceptance here. So
Missing one person.
one person in this one. Awesome. All right, so noted and accepted. We'll go ahead and send that through to city council. How will the announcement for, public comment go? Do you know offhand?
Yes, so what we'll do is at the next, cultural commission, agenda, we will, assist with the chair's, input on putting it on the agenda, and then we can have our, communications coordinator, put it on social media and on the website.
Okay.
Usually we just put it on the website. We'll do a social media post, for this one, asking for public comment. And then likewise for the March 5th council meeting. And so at the March 5th council meeting, we'll have it on the agenda. We'll do a social media post, and the public comment will be before the, council votes on the project. Because there's a funding mechanism here. So council will have to use some of their budget that they have for art on this project, so they'll have to vote it at that meeting.
Anything further before we move on to the next item of business? Probably a lot more fun. So I went through the video of our last meeting for the park signage, and I actually listened to every single suggestion from everyone that was there and made a sign for it. So this,
Oh, no.
yes, this is more of a kind of, just a catalog. This is something that I would very much like to just send over to Director Lanichevsky. This is just more for us, like, do we want to actually send this catalog to him? So we'll go ahead and go to the next, slide, please.
If you send him too much, you may not know what you're going to get, so.
That's true, that is true. So we may, if we have a consensus on one that we want to send, I will do so.
I believe Director Lanichevsky would
But appreciate that.
like one or two recommendations.
Okay. So previously, this was the sign that I came up with, just on my own. It's, as I've said before, highway signage is a weird hobby of mine, and I enjoy doing this one. Commissioner Frazier has also done a couple of, two signs at this point for this. The signs are just large, medium, small, meant for different parts of the city, different kinds of parks. We can go to the Crystal Frazier alternative large signage.
Just the next one.
That's the next one, yeah. So this was something that Commissioner Frazier came up with a suggestion of die cutting the sign. And it still uses the basic design that I came up with, but at the same time, it's got the nice die cut. It's very visible with the white line around it. And it's still got the blue stripe at the bottom with the black on white, but I'm actually really a fan of this.
Yeah.
The three at the bottom, that was a specific request for color deficiency. So this is what's going to look like to the different types of color deficiency when people see those signs. I'm kind of a fan of this one.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Go ahead and go to alternative medium signage. This is for smaller parks, still also die cut. Uses the stripes on the side as well as circle icons. The white is not as thick, but when it's a smaller sign, you don't need as thick a border. But I'm also liking this. I also like that the die cut actually uses the city mountain logo on, which I believe was actually commissioned for those.
Right.
So the other signs that I came up with are the ones that were suggested. This was my original designs. I'm just having it here so you can see what they look like as color deficiency. Really. Oh, and one die cut. I did actually do die cut for a die cut version for each sign. The next one was black icons on a white stripe, as well as blue signage, which I believe was Commissioner Britnicki's idea. This one kind of grew on me, but as I took pictures and started putting them onto backgrounds, I noticed that that blue would fade into the gray clouds, and I don't think that's going to be very visible. Very, very striking, but at the same time, I don't think it would work for a signage. Next, I believe Commissioner Britnicki also asked for the blue stripe to be changed to green. I did so. Actually, not a fan of this. It starts looking like a military sign, like a military reservation. The olive green just did not work with the rest of this. Go to the next one, please. I believe is lighter blue stripe. This one has really grown on me. This was a suggestion that we switch the blue with white, black icons on white from Commissioner DA, as well as a blue stripe above it. And I think actually, the more I look at this one, the happier I am with this. I'm really a fan.
I really like it for another reason.
The die cut. Well, there is also a die cut version there as well, but
I like the die.
yeah,
I really like the die cut. I want to see the die cut in the future, but I know that's gonna add a lot to the cost.
Mhm. And finally, I believe, no, that was the last one. So those are what I was actually going to send to Director Lenichevsky. Now, if we want, instead, what I can do is we pick. It sounds like we've got two favorites on this. We've got the die cut one and we've got the blue stripe one. If you want, I can just cut that down and then send it along to have it sent to Director Lenichevsky. If we're all in agreement to those two, unless you have any other ideas.
I like that.
Which we get, what did it do?
It's the Crystal Frazier alternative large signage. Or the
Like the top right one?
Yeah, the top right one. The three at the bottom are what they look like to people with colored tips. And the white strip, as I put white strip, white strip with black icons in blue separate. Or this one. And don't feel that you're going to disappoint me by not choosing this. This is a collaborative effort. Everyone is allowed their say on this. So if you'd like to just knock it down to just a couple, we can all just agree on which couple we want to send over, and then I will just mock something up and send it through.
Can we see the blue again? This one?
The blue signage?
Yeah. I really like the blue. I know I'm in the minority, but I love the blue.
It's striking, but when you put it up against a gray sky, it just smears into the background. That was my main problem with it.
I like it, it feels good, but at the same time, I'm a little less, yeah, like I said, I think it's enough.
The green kind of blends in more with nature, with the grass and the trees.
That's the one that you were talking about with the. What is it? The green detail stripe.
Well, that was kind of my favorite.
That
That was my favorite.
Got one. So I'm talking about, why don't we just go down the line? Choose two. No, serious. We go down the line.
That one's my favorite.
We choose two. And then whichever one has the most votes on it, I'll go ahead and send it on. Would you like, would you like to go ahead and do that?
I think that's a reasonable way to.
We might as well. If, like I said, this was, I was just gonna send the whole thing over. If he wants just two, we can just vote on two, so.
Should I recuse myself since I contributed?
No, because I'm not. I'm working on this. Commissioner Tozer, you can go first.
That one's my favorite.
So that,
Yeah.
that's number, let's call this one, whoops, and I lost my page. We'll call this one just Crystal. So you like this one, do you have another one you like?
Oh, I like them all, but I like that one has a thicker white border around it. I think it makes it pop a little better.
Very shiny.
It gives
You
it
have-
some contrast.
What I'm saying is you have two votes, you wanna do a second vote.
Oh, I don't remember what the other ones were. That one, I think. I like that. I like that one. There was one that had a smaller strip, though, right? Smaller white strip. Somewhere there. Oh, maybe a medium.
Blue signage with white icon, it's the only other one with white strip, they were the same size.
I'll vote twice for the first.
So vote twice for the first.
The dot
I will-
exercise methodology.
Commissioner Ivory.
Well, I like the one with the green stripe below. And definitely that has the terrace kind of a superior border instead of square or rectangle.
That one?
The one in the middle
Table
right.
landing, yes, that one is the second,
Terrace.
you know.
The,
Yeah, oh, God, okay. I
Is that what you
got
call
it. I got it.
I call it die cut, I don't know if actually it's die cut or laser cut. The idea is I will just send him the actual full block of these. We're basically choosing colors, is what we're choosing, color and design. You have a second vote if you would like,
Oh, I'll go for that one.
so 2 votes for this, okay,
Funny.
I'll allow. Commissioner Damiano.
Can I see the lighter blue strip with white on black? Oh, there we go. This one? Sorry, yeah, the white stripe. Yeah, that's mine with the die cut, the Taylor's number.
Show with the blue signage. Okay.
And that one.
Well, I mean, nobody's gonna want the blues.
What do you-
That's blue language.
Here's the thing, it's what you want, it's gonna be just a number of,
Well, but then we should be so divided. So I'll go ahead and choose the blue signage with black icon and white stripe, die cut. That's a pretty.
Commissioner Dean.
I am going to go for, the crystals for, die cut. And if not die cut, then, the white straw.
Never gonna live that one down. It's on YouTube forever. Right, Commissioner Frazier.
I'm actually gonna do the exact same thing, the heavy white border and then the white straw.
I am going to vote for the heavy white border, and I'm actually, believe it or not, going to vote for the white stripes. That grew on me, that grew on me. So we have the following votes for the original die cut, got 4 votes, the white stripe got, or I'm sorry, the die cut got 5 votes with the thick white. The white stripe one here got 4 votes, so those are the 2 I'm gonna go ahead and send across. The green stripe got 2 and the blue got 1. And my original design that I worked so hard on for hours, figuring it all out, got 0.
And what, back it up, Irma.
We wouldn't have any of these other ones, we did, I did 30.
But, and we are keeping the background, which is lovely.
So what I will do is I will just set up a really quick PDF, and I'm happy to send them all to you, but at this point, it's probably just going to go directly to the director when it's just easier to choose.
I think that's reasonable.
Awesome. And one of the things about this project, this is actually kind of how I would like our future projects to run. Basically, someone takes a head of a project, collaborates with another commissioner or some of their choosing, any commissioners up to three, of course, brings it to council or to commission. Commission looks it over, swarms it, decides, we want to do X, want to do Y, we want to do Z, do A, B, and C, goes back, works on it, then brings it to council one more time, and then we either agree on it, disagree on it, vote on it, like we did here, choose what we want to go ahead and send through. And that's something I'd like to do eventually. I'm not sure if we'll do it at the next meeting, but as we start working on these other projects, I think it's best that we have a point person for each of these projects and then work on it that way. That way we can get a lot of them done pretty quickly. The only downside I see to that is that we could end up with like 6 presentations in one meeting.
I think that's good for things like this. I'm not sure if it'll work as well for things like mural, where we're just going to put out a call for artists and then review them.
That's true too. And maybe we can just work on that. We'll figure out what needs a point person, what doesn't need it.
Yeah, I will note that anything that we do get is like the rubric. Are we gonna have to do that while we're in session? I assume we will.
Or is that something that staff does?
No, so what we would do on things like a scoring rubric would be to send the rubric to everyone, and you and at your leisure could take a look at the submission, score it, and then send it to staff, and we would accumulate the results.
Oh. Like, this is more of a suggestion, not only we're doing this next time, but it's definitely something that I'd like us all to think about.
Can I trouble us to go back and lose goodwill? I was trying to read through, again, a little bit hairy, but I want to make sure I understand on the Pride project piece. So the vote, was it to move forward to the next stage? Again, I thought there was going to be a public comment period before we made a decision here is what I thought was going on. And now I was trying to reread it on here since I don't have my notes or anything, but
The public comment is part of the draft. Therefore, we would have to accept the draft to get the public comment.
okay, so there's no public comment process happening or allowed prior to a recommendation to move to the next
Well,
step.
the public comment happens. So this is accepting the project draft, like the order of operations. So there'll be a public comment for our our commission meeting, and then a public comment for the next town council meeting.
I think I understand the question. So, the way public comment is supposed to work is it's supposed to inform a decision. And so you're proving that you want to go forward with kind of the scope of the project as written. At the next commission meeting, you'll hold public comment. You will also have new business that says you approve making this recommendation, having heard any public comment that you may get. Council will do the same. They'll hear public comment. It'll be, their agenda item will be after public comment, which will be, we have a, commission, let's assume that you make a recommendation to move it to council. They'll have a recommendation to consider, an agenda bill to discuss whether or not they want to fund it. And then they will vote it after their public comment, which then would put March 6th as the date when the project would start. So it'd be the day after council. So you'll have 2-ish items of business on the 26th. You'll have public comment where you may or may not get public comment on this. And then you'll have to vote making a recommendation to move it forward.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to find out. I wasn't sure. Thank you. Sorry to take us back.
No. Have clarification on that? All right, at this point, the last order of business, anyone have any information or anything to say for good of the order? Any fun stuff that they've done on the council lives? No. Okay, it's okay to say no. It's all right. Then at that point, I would go ahead and call for an adjournment of the commission at 6:39 p.m.
And seconded.
Third.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. All yes. We're adjourned.
Thank you. Clarify my.